The Ice Cave Discovery. The wind screamed over the frozen mountains of planet Elter 9. Thick snow hit hard like sharp needles. A small silver escape pod lay half buried in the snow, smoke rising from its back. The door hissed open, and a man stepped out, coughing and shivering. His name was Liam Varus, a young Earth explorer. His main ship had been damaged during a meteor storm, and the escape pod crash-landed on this unknown ice planet. Liam wrapped his jacket tighter and looked around. Everything was white. No trees, no sky, just ice, snow, and wind. His scanner beeped weakly in his hand. No signs of life. Oxygen level low. Shelter needed within 1 hour. He muttered, "Perfect, just perfect." Trudging forward, Liam moved toward the nearest hill. His boots crunched deep into the snow. After 30 minutes of walking, he noticed something odd. A blue glow coming from inside a crack in the hill. Curious, he walked closer. There was an opening. A hidden cave, wide and dark, glowing faintly from inside. Warm air gently blew out. A cave with warm air. Liam whispered, "That's not natural." Still, he had no choice. His body was shaking from the cold. He stepped inside. The walls of the cave were smooth crystal. Light passed through the ice, glowing softly blue. Strange patterns were frozen into the walls, shapes like stars and circles. It felt ancient. Suddenly, Liam stopped. His eyes went wide. At the center of the cave stood a tall block of clear ice, and inside it was a woman. Not human. She had soft silver-blue skin, long hair that floated around her like silk, and strange markings across her face and arms. Her eyes were closed. She wore armor made of shining metal and glowing stones. Her hands were frozen midair, as if reaching toward something. Liam's breath caught in his throat. She's beautiful. He walked slowly around the ice. No damage. No sign of life. He checked his scanner. Unknown life form. Vital signs. Faint. Cryo-sleep status. Critical. Time frozen. Estimated 1,200 years. Frozen for over 1,000 years. Liam whispered, stepping closer. He noticed something even stranger. One of her fingers was pressed against the ice wall, as if she had touched it from the inside, just before freezing. Liam placed his own hand against hers, separated by the ice. Suddenly, the woman's eyes opened, only for a second. One blink. Then she closed them again. Liam jumped back, heart racing. No way. No way I saw that. He stared at her face, waiting, but nothing else happened. He checked the scanner again. The life signals were a little stronger now. Cryo-core damage detected. Ice layer integrity weakening. The ice block started glowing softly. Liam took a step back. No. Should I stop this? He said aloud, looking around. What if this is dangerous? But a part of him didn't want to stop it. She didn't look dangerous. She looked lonely, trapped. He sighed. I guess I already woke you up. He took out his camp gear and set up a small heater near the ice. If she really was waking up, he'd stay and make sure she wasn't alone. Hours passed. Liam sat by the cave wall, drinking warm synth coffee, eyes never leaving the frozen woman. Then, late in the night, he heard it. Crack. A small crack ran down the side of the ice block. Crack. Crack. More lines appeared, webbing across the ice like lightning. Liam stood up quickly. Okay, this is really happening. The cave filled with the sound of ice breaking slowly. He backed away, heart pounding. He didn't know what would come out of that ice, but he knew one thing. He would never be the same again. She's alive, and watching him. Liam didn't sleep that night. He kept staring at the ice block from the other side of the cave, clutching his heating blanket and his scanner. The cracks on the surface had stopped growing, but they were still there, glowing faintly. The alien woman inside hadn't moved again, but Liam couldn't forget how her eyes had blinked once. Just once. No dream could be that real. The cave was silent, except for the soft hum of his equipment. His breath fogged the cold air, and the glowing blue crystal walls cast soft shadows that danced like ghosts. "Who are you?" Liam whispered in the darkness. "And why are you waking up now?" He didn't know the answer, but something deep inside told him this planet had been sleeping, waiting, just like her. Morning came, or at least what Liam guessed was morning. The outside world was still frozen in a blizzard. His scanner said the temperature was -60. No chance of going out again. He approached the ice block slowly, carefully. The cracks on the surface had widened just a little more. He placed his hand on the smooth surface once again. This time, the scanner beeped louder. Vital signs improving. Neural activity detected. Reboot in progress. Reboot. Liam repeated. "Are you a machine?" He didn't think so. She looked too alive. Her skin wasn't metal. Her face wasn't cold. She didn't look like any robot he'd seen in Earth's databanks. But before he could think more, something changed. The ice began to melt. Not with heat, but with light. A golden glow shone from inside the woman's chest, like a star flickering to life. It spread across her body, melting the ice from within. The process was slow, silent, almost gentle. The last layer of ice faded away. A final crack echoed in the cave. She fell forward, and Liam caught her. Her body was cold, not icy, but cooler than any human's. Her skin felt smooth like stone, but soft like velvet. Liam gently placed her down on a thermal mat and wrapped her in his heating blanket. She didn't open her eyes. She didn't speak, but she was breathing. Slowly, deeply. And then, her fingers moved. One twitch, then another. Then her hand gripped his arm. Liam froze. Her grip was strong. "Hey," he said softly, trying not to panic. "You're okay now. You're safe." Her lips parted. A strange, whisper-like voice came out. The words were soft, musical, and not human. Liam's translator device in his suit clicked and buzzed. After a few seconds, it began to translate. "Danger. The heart. Must be protected." Her eyes opened. They were bright silver, with no pupils, only light. She looked around slowly. Her breathing became faster. Her eyes landed on Liam, and she sat up straight. Liam jumped back. "Whoa, easy. I'm not your enemy." She stared at him with wide eyes, chest rising and falling quickly. Then she spoke again. "Where is the Guardian?" Liam raised his hands. "I don't know what that means. I found you in the ice. My ship crashed. I was only looking for shelter." She scanned him from head to toe. Her eyes glowed. "You are not one of the enemy." "No, definitely not," Liam said, still sitting on the ground. "I'm from Earth. I'm a human. I don't know who you are, but you blinked when I touched the ice. So, I stayed. I didn't want you to wake up alone." She looked confused. Then she whispered, almost to herself, "Human. Earth. The ancient ones. The old alliance." "What?" Liam asked, now more curious than afraid. She turned her head toward the back of the cave. A deep sadness crossed her face. "I was not supposed to wake. Not unless the weapon stirred again." "Weapon?" Liam asked slowly. "There's a weapon on this planet." She nodded. Her voice was clearer now, stronger. "It sleeps far beneath the ice. It was made in a time of war, to destroy stars. I froze myself to keep it sealed. Only one of pure light could unlock it. That was the Guardian." "And now you think I woke it up?" Liam asked. She nodded again. "You are not the Guardian, but you carry his light. I felt it when you touched the ice." Liam's brain spun. "I'm just a pilot, a cargo scout. I don't even carry weapons." But she was already standing up, still weak, but tall and graceful. Her eyes never left him. "Then why does the ice obey you? Why does my body respond to your voice?" He opened his mouth to speak, but stopped. He didn't know. But something else happened. Behind her, the wall of the cave pulsed once with light, and a door opened. It hadn't been there before. A hidden crystal panel slid open, revealing a long tunnel glowing with energy. Liam stepped back. "Did I do that too?" The woman looked at the door, then back at him. "No, it was triggered by your presence. This planet remembers you." "Me? I've never been here before." She stepped close to him, her silver eyes shining. "You may not remember, but your blood does." Liam didn't know what that meant, but the look in her eyes said she was serious. He helped her walk. Together, they moved toward the glowing tunnel. She held his arm, not for balance, but connection, like his presence grounded her. Before they entered, Liam asked one last question. "What's your name?" She stopped, looked at him gently. "I am Velneri, last of the Crystal Guardians, keeper of the final lock." Liam stared at her, heart beating fast. "And I'm Liam, just a human. Lost, I guess." Velneri smiled faintly. "Then we are both lost. But perhaps we were meant to be found." Together, they stepped into the tunnel of glowing light. And far below, in the center of the planet, something ancient opened its eyes. A warning from the past. The glowing tunnel felt alive. Soft light pulsed along the walls like veins under translucent skin. Liam and Velneri walked slowly, their footsteps echoing through the ancient corridor. The deeper they went, the warmer it became. The ice disappeared, replaced by smooth crystal, and strange symbols etched into every surface. Liam ran his hand over the wall. "How long has this place been hidden?" Velneri answered without looking at him. "Since before your species walked upright, before Earth had names." That made Liam pause. "Then who built it?" She turned her silver eyes to him. "Your ancestors, and mine." They reached a chamber, round, wide, and glowing like a star. In the center floated a sphere of light, slowly rotating in midair. Surrounding it were 6 large pedestals with alien statues, each shaped like a different species. One of them looked strangely human. Velneri walked toward the sphere. Her hand hovered just above it, and the light grew brighter. "This is the heart vault. It holds memories and warnings." Liam stepped beside her. "Warnings of what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she touched the sphere gently. The chamber changed. The walls shimmered, and suddenly, they weren't in the chamber anymore. They stood in the middle of a holographic battlefield. Explosions echoed. Giant alien ships fought in space. A massive black hole sucked in entire planets. Liam stared in shock. "What is this?" Velneri's voice was quiet, filled with pain. "The Starburn Wars. The last great alliance fell. Civilizations died, and a weapon was made to end everything." In the center of the battle, Liam saw a machine unlike anything he'd ever imagined. It wasn't just metal. It was alive. Its body glowed with black lightning. It tore through fleets, swallowed moons, and screamed with a voice that shook the stars. "The Oblivion Engine," Velneri whispered, "made by the brightest minds, powered by light-blooded guardians." But it turned against them. Liam watched as alien beings tried to shut it down, but one by one, they failed. Until a single figure appeared, a man, wearing armor like Velneri's, but different. He held a glowing staff. The machine froze as he approached. Velneri spoke again. That was the first guardian. He gave up his soul to seal the weapon. And with his dying breath, he said, "Let none wake what we buried in ice." The battlefield faded. They were back in the chamber. The sphere dimmed. Liam stood silently, his mind spinning. That thing. The Oblivion engine. It's here. On this planet. Velneri nodded. Her voice was firm. Buried deep below. Frozen. Sealed with power. And I was chosen to protect the last lock. If it wakes, everything ends. Liam rubbed his forehead. And me being here somehow started it. Velneri hesitated. Your DNA. It's connected. Not to the engine, but to the Guardian. You are not his son, but his line flows through you. Liam laughed nervously. You're saying I have space hero blood. You carry the light that can either bind the lock or break it. Liam didn't know what to say. He had always felt like a nobody. Just a scout. Just a wanderer. But now, he was standing next to a warrior from the past, with ancient memories calling him something more. He looked into Velneri's eyes. They sent me here by accident. I wasn't chosen. She stepped closer. The universe has no accidents, only paths we cannot see. A loud boom echoed through the tunnel behind them. Liam jumped. What was that? Velneri narrowed her eyes. We are not alone. Another boom. The ground shook. Then a voice, deep and cold, echoed down the hall. Velneri, Crystal Guardian, you live. Velneri froze. Her lips tightened. No, it cannot be them. Liam stepped back. Who is that? She turned slowly toward the tunnel. Her voice was filled with fear and fury. Star Hunters, the traitors. They fed the engine, and they want it back. Suddenly, the crystal tunnel lit up with red light. Figures walked into the chamber, tall, thin, in dark armor that pulsed like oil. Their eyes glowed green. Their faces were hidden behind masks shaped like skulls. The lead figure stepped forward. The human woke you, just as we planned. Velneri stepped in front of Liam. You will not take the heart. The Star Hunter laughed. You forget, Guardian. You are alone now. The others are dead, and the human is just a key. Before Liam could speak, the Star Hunters raised their hands and fired. Velneri moved faster than light. Her body glowed as a crystal blade formed in her hand. She blocked the energy blast, spinning in the air, landing hard. Sparks flew everywhere. Liam ducked behind a pillar. His heart pounded. He peeked out. Velneri fought like a storm, slashing, dodging, cutting through one hunter after another. But they kept coming. One blast hit her in the side, and she fell to one knee. Liam couldn't just hide. He looked around and saw the glowing sphere flickering. It was reacting to him. He ran toward it, dodging a blast. The moment his hand touched it, everything stopped. Time froze. Even Velneri, mid-swing, paused like a statue. Only Liam could move. Hello, said a voice behind him. He turned and saw a glowing figure. The same man from the battlefield memory. The first Guardian. Am I dead? Liam asked. The Guardian smiled. No, but your path has reached a fork. You can turn away. Go back. Forget all of this. Or take my place. Liam stared at him. I don't understand. The Guardian placed a hand on his shoulder. You don't have to understand. Just choose. Liam looked at Velneri, frozen mid-battle. Her face was fierce and afraid. He remembered her words. We were meant to be found. Liam took a breath. I choose to help. The chamber flashed white. Time returned. Velneri screamed his name. Liam. As a hunter aimed at his back. But Liam didn't fall. His body glowed. The same golden light the Guardian once held now burned in his chest. He raised his hand, and a wave of energy blasted out, knocking all the hunters away. Velneri stood in shock. You activated the heart. Liam looked at his glowing arms. I didn't mean to. Velneri stepped close, eyes wide. You are no longer just a man. You are the next guardian. Liam smiled nervously. Great. Do guardians come with instruction manuals? Velneri laughed, even though blood ran down her side. No, but they come with allies. Together, they walked to the center of the chamber. Below them, the ice cracked, and a giant machine's eye opened far beneath the planet's surface. The Oblivion engine was waking. Hunters from the stars. The ground rumbled beneath their feet. Deep under the ancient planet, the Oblivion engine began to wake. Its single red eye glowed in the darkness, and its metal body, long hidden under layers of ice and time, shifted for the first time in 1,000 years. Liam stood at the center of the crystal chamber. His body still glowed faintly with golden light, the light of the first guardian. But he felt no power now. The strength had vanished the moment he shielded Velneri. Beside him, Velneri gripped her side, bleeding but steady. Her blade shimmered in her hand, and her silver eyes stayed locked on the path behind them. We need to move. The Star Hunters are regrouping. But I don't know what I did, Liam said, his voice shaking. I touched the heart sphere, and suddenly I had power. And now it's gone. Velneri turned toward him, her face calm, though pain clearly gripped her. That light is not always with you. It appears in moments of choice, when your heart is certain. That is what makes a guardian. Liam didn't feel certain. He felt scared. Still, he helped Velneri walk as they exited the chamber, taking the glowing tunnel deeper underground, toward what Velneri called the last lock, the final seal between the world and the engine. As they walked, the ancient walls began to change. The crystal grew darker. Strange shadows moved within the walls. The air became heavy, like it was filled with voices that whispered just out of hearing. Liam rubbed his arms. Feels like something's watching us. Velneri nodded. The engine does not sleep like a machine. It dreams. It remembers pain. It feeds on fear. He swallowed. Lovely. Suddenly, the tunnel shook. Boom, boom, boom. Footsteps. Heavy ones. Getting closer. Liam turned. Please don't tell me. Velneri grabbed his arm and pulled him into a hidden passage. They pressed against the wall as several dark armored figures marched by. But these were not just Star Hunters. They were larger, heavier. Their armor fused into their skin. Their eyes didn't glow green anymore, but black. Velneri whispered with dread. Engine bonded. They have fed from the core. Liam stared. You mean? They're part machine. No, she said softly. They are no longer alive. The creatures stopped. Their leader sniffed the air, like a beast. Then he turned his head slowly. The scent of light. The thing rasped. He is here. Liam held his breath. His heart pounded. The thing growled, then walked on. Only after the echoes faded did Velneri release her grip. They are searching for you. You are the key to unlocking the engine fully. Liam leaned against the wall, sweating. Well, maybe they'll find someone else to bother. Velneri gave him a hard look. You joke. But if they take you, they will use your blood to awaken the engine, and no force in this galaxy will stop it. Liam nodded, face serious now. Okay, no more jokes. They continued deeper until they reached a chamber like none before. It was huge. A wide platform hung over a glowing pit, and across the pit stood a gate of black crystal, wrapped in chains of energy. Velneri stepped forward. The last lock. Beyond that gate sleeps the Oblivion engine. Liam approached the edge. The heat from the pit was strange. Not burning, but cold, like a fire that stole warmth. So what now? We keep the gate closed. Velneri looked uncertain. That is one choice. But the seal is breaking. We must decide. Destroy the gate, or face what's behind it. Liam looked at her. What would the first guardian have done? She met his eyes. He would not run. He would not hide. He would face the darkness and protect the light. Liam nodded slowly. Before he could speak, the air cracked. A portal opened behind them. Dozens of star hunters emerged, weapons raised. Among them came the engine-bonded leader from before. He held a black staff that pulsed with blood-red veins. "There is no escape," the leader hissed. "Give us the key, or die screaming." Valneri raised her blade. "Come and take him." She charged. Liam followed. No plan, only instinct. The chamber exploded in chaos. Valneri was fast. She danced through enemies, blades slicing through dark armor. She moved like fire and lightning combined, but even she could not face them all. Liam dodged a blast, rolled behind a pillar, and looked for something, anything, to help. He saw one of the fallen pedestals had a strange crystal embedded in it, glowing faintly gold. He grabbed it. The moment his hand touched it, the crystal pulsed, and a memory entered his mind. A memory that wasn't his. A battle. A sacrifice. The voice of the first guardian. "This weapon is not for killing. It is for choosing." Liam turned. Velneri, Ge. She dropped just as Liam lifted the crystal high. It flashed. A wave of light exploded from him. Not a weapon, but a truth. The light showed every star hunter their past, the lives they had before they fed on the engine, the faces of their children, the songs of their people. The engine-bonded screamed, clawing at their own heads. One by one, they began to fall. Valneri stood slowly, watching in awe. "You showed them who they were." Liam dropped the crystal, exhausted. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted it to stop." Valneri walked to him and placed a hand on his chest. "You used the light as it was meant to be used, not to destroy, but to awaken." Suddenly, the gate across the pit shuddered. Chains broke. The black crystal split open, and from the crack, a deep, dark voice echoed across the chamber. "Guardian, you have returned." Liam froze. "Did it just talk to me?" Valneri stepped in front of him again. "It senses you. It remembers the Guardian's blood. It will call to you. It will tempt you." Liam stepped forward, staring at the gate. "Then maybe it's time," someone answered. Valneri grabbed his hand. "You must not face it alone." Liam smiled tiredly. "Good, because I really didn't want to." They stepped together to the edge of the pit. The final lock was open, and the true face of the Oblivion engine was about to be revealed. The bond that cannot be broken. The gate cracked open fully. A deep red glow poured out like blood flooding from a wound. The sound that followed was not just a sound. It was a feeling. It pulsed in Liam's bones, whispered in his mind, and echoed through the air. "Come closer, Guardian." Liam didn't move. He stood at the edge of the platform, staring down into the pit where the Oblivion engine waited. The machine's eye glowed from the shadows, massive and alive. Long chains of ancient light still wrapped around its body, but they were breaking, one by one. It was almost free. Behind him, Valneri stood tall but silent. Her body trembled slightly, and her wounds had reopened. Her armor was cracked, but her spirit was unbroken. Liam turned to her. "Can we stop it?" Valneri's face was unreadable. "Maybe, but we will not survive the attempt." That answer hit him hard. He looked into her silver eyes, seeing not a warrior, but a woman who had waited alone in the ice for over 1,000 years, all for this moment. "I don't want you to die for me," he whispered. She stepped closer. "I was never waiting to die. I was waiting for you." Valneri placed her hand over Liam's chest. Her fingers glowed softly as they touched his heart. A warm light spread through his body. He felt her presence inside him. Her memories, her fears, her hope, and something else. A bond, invisible but strong, forged the moment he touched the ice, strengthened when he caught her, sealed when he chose to stay. Our connection is not accidental, she said. When you woke me, your soul called to mine. It is a rare link, a sacred one. In my people, we call it Shaolin Kai. What does it mean? Liam asked, barely able to speak. Velneri's voice trembled. It means you are no longer alone. Your fight is mine. Your pain is mine. Even your death. Liam felt her words like fire in his chest. Not fear, not sorrow, but something greater. He gently took her hand. Then let's face this, together. Suddenly, the ground beneath them split open. From the darkness below, a massive claw reached upward, pulling the rest of the Oblivion engine into view. It wasn't just a machine. It was part creature, part god, part memory of pain. Its face had no mouth, only an eye. Its body was made from the broken remains of dead worlds. Bones, metal, light, and shadow twisted together in impossible shapes. It roared without sound. The chains around it shattered. You are the final piece, the engine whispered in Liam's mind. Give me your light, and I will make you eternal. Liam stepped back, holding his head. The voice was too loud, too deep. His mind burned with strange images. Earth on fire, Velneri turning to dust, stars falling like stones. No, Velneri shouted, placing both hands on Liam's temples. Do not let it inside. Focus on me. Liam gasped, eyes wide. Then slowly, the visions faded. Only Velneri remained. Her silver eyes, her voice, her warmth. I'm here, he whispered. I'm still me. The Oblivion engine moved forward. It no longer walked. It floated, rising above them like a god of destruction. All around, crystal walls cracked, and the ancient planet itself began to tremble. There is only one way to seal it again, Velneri said, her voice steady. We must use the heart core. Liam looked confused. The sphere from earlier. She nodded. It contains the last piece of the guardian soul. But it needs both of us now, one with the blood and one with the bond. He paused. What happens if we use it? Velneri did not answer right away. One of us will not survive. Liam shook his head. No, there has to be another way. Velneri smiled softly. You are kind. That is why you were chosen. As the engine rose higher, its eye opened wider. Your love makes you weak, it said. Give her to me. Spare yourself. Velneri turned to Liam and kissed his forehead gently. Don't listen to it. It only knows destruction. Then she took his hand, pulled him to the center of the platform, and held the glowing heart core between them. The crystal pulsed. Their bond awakened. Memories poured into Liam's mind. He saw her life. Velneri as a child, laughing in golden fields with others of her kind. Velneri as a warrior, fighting to protect stars, sealing ancient evils. Velneri alone, walking into the freezing chamber, eyes full of sorrow and hope. Tears ran down his cheeks. You gave everything, he whispered. She smiled, eyes shining. And now, I give it one more time. The crystal glowed brighter. The Oblivion engine roared in rage. No, I will not to sleep again. But it was too late. Liam and Velneri, hands together, poured their energy into the heart core. The platform beneath them shattered. Light exploded upward, and the energy slammed into the engine like a sun crashing into stone. It screamed. Its body twisted. The shadows faded. The broken pieces of metal and bone pulled apart. Then, silence. Liam opened his eyes. The chamber was gone. He stood alone in a white field of light. No noise, no pain, just peace. And then he heard her voice. You are safe now. He turned. Velneri stood across from him, glowing like a star. But I thought, one of us. She nodded. My body is gone. But my soul, is with you." Liam's heart broke and healed at the same time. "Don't leave me." Velneri walked closer, touched his face. "I never will. You carry my bond now. I will be part of your breath, your blood, your dreams." He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, he was back on the surface of the frozen planet. The storm had cleared. The sun shone weakly in the sky. His body felt heavy, but he was alive. The engine was gone. The chamber below had collapsed, sealed forever. And in his chest, a soft silver light pulsed gently. He looked up at the sky. "I'll keep going," he said, "for both of us." The final weapon room. The frozen wind swept gently across the white plains of Eltar-9, where once storms howled and ice cracked under the weight of ancient machines. Now, there was only silence. Peace, a broken kind of peace. Liam stood at the edge of the crater, the same place where the Oblivion engine had fallen back into its eternal sleep. The pit was sealed, the ground calm, but his heart was anything but. He placed a hand over his chest. A soft silver glow pulsed under his skin. Velneri's energy, her spirit, still alive inside him. A part of her was with him now. Always would be. "We did it," he whispered into the cold air. "We really did it." But as the wind shifted, a strange sound echoed behind him. A hum, a pulse, a call. Liam turned slowly. Far in the distance, a part of the snowy ground had split open. Glowing red lines formed a perfect circle, like a doorway being drawn into the planet's skin. He didn't know why, but something in his chest pulled him toward it. Deep below again. Hours passed as Liam descended through narrow tunnels of glassy ice and glowing rock. He followed the pull in his chest. It wasn't just memory, it was the bond. Velneri was guiding him still. At last, he reached it, a massive hidden chamber, untouched by time. It was unlike the other places. This one was smooth, silver, clean, not ancient and broken, but alive, still working. And in the center of the room, a circular platform floated above the floor. On it sat a strange device, part chair, part control station, surrounded by floating screens and light rings. It looked like a throne, but not for a king. For a pilot. Above the chair, strange writing floated in the air. Liam stepped closer. His translator buzzed and began to interpret. Primary activation chamber. Starborn weapon project. Echelon 0. Weapon. Liam looked around. Wait, another one. Velneri's voice echoed softly in his head. Not like the engine. This one was never used. It was hidden, forgotten. Until now. Liam stepped onto the platform. Lights activated. Scans passed over his body. DNA recognized. Guardian line confirmed. Soul bond detected. Then, from deep under the chamber, something huge began to rise. The ground split open, and a machine unlike anything Liam had ever seen emerged. It wasn't made of bone and darkness like the Oblivion engine. It was clean, silver, beautiful, shaped like a humanoid being. It stood over 30 feet tall. Its eyes were blue, not red. Its chest pulsed with light. It wasn't a weapon of destruction. It was a guardian's armor. Velneri's voice whispered again. The ancients built 2 machines, one to destroy stars, and one to protect them. Liam stepped closer. "You mean this was meant for me? It responds only to light-bonded souls. You were never just an explorer, Liam. You were chosen to finish what others could not." Unexpected visitors. Before he could climb into the cockpit, the chamber flashed red. A warning alarm blared. The lights flickered. Then, a ship entered the sky above the planet. It wasn't Star Hunter tech. It was human. From orbit, the UES Falcon Reach, a massive Earth military vessel, hovered above Eltar-9. Its commander, Colonel Heron Graves, peered through the screen with narrowed eyes. "We've located the crash signal. preparing retrieval. His assistant turned from the console. "Sir, there's something else. Massive energy readings. Alien tech. Big." Graves smiled. "Looks like our scout found something valuable." He tapped the comm. "Send in the recovery unit. Tell them to bring the survivor and whatever tech he's standing on." Liam didn't have much time. He watched from the platform as Earth soldiers in armored suits descended through the tunnels, moving fast and armed. "Great. Now humans show up." Velneri's voice was tense. "They don't know what this place is. They'll try to take it and break the balance again." Liam clenched his fists. "I can't let them do that." The platform opened. The Guardian armor, called Echelon 0, lowered its chest panel. A seat formed. The machine waited. Liam stepped inside. Neural sync in progress. Heart core connected. Bond confirmed. "Welcome, Liam Varys." Suddenly, he wasn't just inside it. He was it. The machine moved with his thoughts. He raised his hand, and the armor raised its hand too. He felt its strength, its patience, its purpose. This was no killing machine. It was a protector, a last gift from a civilization that had nearly destroyed itself. The soldiers entered the chamber, weapons drawn. "Put your hands up," one shouted. "Step out of this suit." Liam activated the speaker. His voice echoed through the chamber, calm but firm. "This is not a weapon you can take. It's not made for war. It's made for defense. For peace." The soldiers hesitated. Then Graves' voice came through their earpieces. "If he resists, take him down. We need that tech." The soldiers raised their guns. Liam didn't move. "Don't make me do this." One soldier fired. The shot bounced off his shoulder harmlessly, but it was a choice. A mistake. The armor's shield activated automatically. Liam stepped forward once. The ground shook. The soldiers backed away, nervous now. Then, Liam did something unexpected. He knelt, placed a hand on the floor, and projected Velneri's final memory into the air above them. They saw her freeze herself, her people fall, the Oblivion engine rise. They saw Liam risking his life, saving the stars. Then, silence. The soldiers stared, unsure. Liam stood again. "You came looking for weapons. You found a tomb. Leave it as one, or you risk waking worse things." After a long pause, one soldier lowered his gun. Then another. Finally, the whole squad stepped back. "Understood, sir," the lead said. "We're leaving." One last message. Later that night, Liam sat in the Guardian armor, high on a mountain above the planet. Stars sparkled above him. The planet was quiet again. He closed his eyes. "Velneri," he whispered. "What now?" Her voice came one last time, gentle, soft. "Now you carry the light. Protect it, share it, and live." Then she was gone. Not erased, just at peace. Liam smiled. A real one. For the first time since his ship crashed, he felt like he belonged. Not because of power, not because of destiny, but because he chose to stay, to care, to protect. Far above, the stars twinkled, and somewhere, in the silence between galaxies, a new guardian washed over them. Her sacrifice, his choice. Stars stretched endlessly across the black sky. Liam sat in the cockpit of the Guardian armor, Echelon 0, high above the snowy mountains of Eltar 9. The wind was silent now. The world below had gone still. The engine was sealed. The soldiers had left. And Velneri's voice had faded from his mind like a gentle breeze. Yet, her presence lingered. Not as a voice, not as a memory, but as a part of him. He closed his eyes. He could still feel her touch, her hand on his chest before the final battle. Her warmth when she linked their souls. Her strength when everything seemed lost. She had said, "Live." But Liam didn't feel like a hero. He felt unfinished. As he sat in silence, a sudden pulse shook the armor. Alert. Deep core disturbance detected. Source: planet's central matrix. Liam blinked. What now? The armor's screen showed an energy signature rising slowly from the planet's core. It wasn't the Oblivion engine. It was something beneath even that. He stood, alarmed. This can't be happening again. The armor's AI spoke. Unknown system awakening. Dormant for over 10,000 years. Connected to primary soul matrix. Velneri had once spoken of the heart core. But now, Liam saw the truth. There was more than one soul inside him. The energy pulse spread across the sky. It looked like a soft aurora, gentle and slow, but wrong. Time seemed to ripple with each wave. His armor systems flickered, then froze. Liam jumped from the cockpit and ran to the mountain's edge. He saw it, rising slowly from the ice like a ghost. A temple made of light. Not crystal, not metal, but memory itself, transparent and glowing with the colors of every sunrise he ever seen. And at the top of the temple, a single door waited. He didn't know why, but he had to go through it. The last journey, climbing the glowing stairs, felt like walking into a dream. Each step replayed a part of his life. His first flight through space, his crash landing here. Velneri's face when she first woke, her blade protecting him. Their bond forming, her sacrifice. He reached the door. It opened on its own. Inside was nothing, just a white void, endless, silent. And then she appeared. Velneri, but not her body. Her soul. She looked as she once did, tall, silver-skinned, with long white hair flowing like light. Her armor gone, replaced with soft robes of stars. Her eyes glowed with peace. "You came," she said softly. Liam's eyes filled with tears. "You're real. I mean still here." She smiled. "Yes, but only for a moment." He ran to her, but his hands passed through her body. He froze. She placed a hand near his cheek, but didn't touch. "This place is not part of the world. It is between endings and beginnings, a space made from our bond." Liam shook his head. "I don't care what it is. I want to stay here, with you." Velneri looked down, her voice breaking. "You can, but only by giving up everything else. Your body, your future, your light." He paused. "What do you mean?" She raised her glowing hand. The void around them shifted. He saw two paths. One, he would stay here forever with her soul. No more pain, no more cold, just peace. Two, he would return to the world, but alone. She would vanish forever. Her memory would fade, but his life would go on. "It's your choice now," she said gently. Her sacrifice or his future. Liam's heart cracked. Was it fair? She had given everything to save the stars, to protect him. And now, he had to choose to keep her or honor her. He looked into her silver eyes. "I want to be selfish," he whispered. "I want to hold you forever. But that's not what you wanted, was it?" She didn't answer. Her eyes were wet with light. He stepped forward. "I will carry your memory," he said. "Not in a machine, not in a temple, but in every step I take forward, in every star I see." Velneri reached up one last time. This time, her hand touched his face. "Then I will live, through you." The light surrounded them both. She leaned in, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "Thank you, guardian." The light faded. Liam opened his eyes. He was back on the mountain. The temple was gone. The aurora had stopped. The armor stood still beside him. The world was quiet again, and he was alone. 1 year later, Liam stood on a new planet, green, full of forests, with alien cities rising across the skyline. Earth had learned about the Oblivion engine and had backed away. The Galaxy Council had honored Velneri's name, her memory was not forgotten. Liam had joined them, not as a soldier, but as a peacekeeper. He wore no uniform, he carried no weapons, but when he walked into a room, people listened. Because he had been touched by light, because he had chosen her over power, and because he never let her story die. Each night, Liam climbed a quiet hill alone. He sat under the stars and whispered, "I still carry you." And sometimes, when the wind was still, he felt her hand over his heart. The end